It's all we're doing is putting one foot in front of the other.
It's just horrible. This is something that shouldn't happen to anybody. That beautiful baby.
Candace and Frank Alfera hold back tears as they remember the day their daughter Emily called them to say their 18-month-old granddaughter Iris, who lived with them, was unresponsive while in her father's care.
She changed our lives, made us the happiest two people in the world. I used to tell Emily, oh, I thought I loved you. I said, I'm sorry, but Iris is this much more, and she'd get mad.
Baby Iris died in the hospital 4 days later on June 29th from acetone poisoning. Then a break in the case. Several months prior to baby Iris's death, she was rushed to the hospital for ingesting water beads, batteries, and a screw. When police told the Alferas they believed that was Owen's first attempt at killing Iris, they immediately contacted Children and Youth Services. But CYF allowed visitations with Iris's father to continue at his home with Owens present.
But we had to go to court, Child Youth Services. They investigated, and they said that it was okay, that he could go back to his regular visitation. As far as I'm concerned, Child Youth Services dropped the ball. We want to change the law to prevent this from happening. At least change it to the point where they have to have supervised visitation if something is wrong.
Emily promised. Emily's making it her life goal to make sure the laws are changed and that Iris's memory's on forever.
The story I'm about to tell you will break your heart. 18-month-old Iris Rita Alfera, a little girl with a bright smile and sparkling eyes, became a victim of brutal violence and a system that was supposed to keep her safe. This isn't just about one family's tragedy, but about huge failures in the child protection system that could happen again if we don't learn from them. I need to warn you that this story contains shocking details that might be tough to hear. Still, I ask you to listen until the end. Everyone needs to hear Iris's story. If you can, please share this on social media. Spreading it helps protect other kids from the same fate. In a quiet town called Newcastle, Pennsylvania, on the morning of June 25th, 2023, everything seemed normal. Little Iris was at her dad Bailey Jacobs' house for her weekend visit, following their custody agreement. No one could have guessed this would be the last day in the short life of this little girl, with the sparkling eyes and infectious smile. Iris Rita Alfera was born on December 2nd, 2021, in Butler, Pennsylvania. From day one, she became the center of her mom, Emily Alfera's world. She brought happiness and laughter to a family that loved her with all their hearts. Her grandparents, Candace and Frank Alfera, fell head over heels for the baby right away and showered her with endless love. Iris lived with her mom and grandparents in a home filled with warmth and care. Her grandfather once said the little girl completely transformed their lives, making them the happiest people alive. Iris spent her first months surrounded by love. There were pets in the house that she loved playing with. By 6 months old, she was actively crawling and exploring everything around her. Around her first birthday, Iris became hooked on educational videos with Miss Rachel. She would watch for hours, completely focused on the screen, trying to copy the movements. That's when she started learning her first signs in sign language, amazing everyone with how quickly she picked things up. By 18 months, Iris had grown into a smart, active toddler who was walking confidently, saying her first words, and constantly making her family proud with new skills. One person who knew her said, "She was a very smart, quick girl who was always on the move, walking and learning something new every day." She especially loved the cartoons Mona and Bluey, and would dance along with them. Emily loved dressing up her daughter. They had lots of matching outfits, swimsuits, tops, dresses, a real mother-daughter collection. Emily's social media was full of sweet photos of her and Iris in their matching clothes. On Mother's Day, May 14th, 2023, just over a month before the tragedy, Emily posted a photo with her daughter and wrote, "The relationship between Iris's parents, Emily Alfera and Bailey Jacoby, was good. Even though they weren't a couple anymore, they stayed friendly for their daughter's sake." When Iris turned 13 months old, the court set up a schedule. She would spend every Wednesday and every other weekend with her dad. Bailey lived with his girlfriend, 20-year-old Alicia Owens, who was studying to be a nurse. According to Emily's mom, Emily and Bailey were wonderful co-parents. They were flexible about visits. If Bailey wanted to see his daughter on a day that wasn't scheduled, Emily always said yes. When Iris was with her dad, Emily constantly asked for photos and videos of her daughter. They did video calls and texted often. But as it turned out later, behind this peaceful picture was a dark, twisted jealousy. According to Iris's grandparents, the constant communication between Emily and Bailey made Alicia jealous. Emily and Bailey were always in touch when Iris was at her dad's house. This fed Alicia's unhealthy, obsessive feelings that later turned into an unexplainable hatred for the little girl. Behind this perfect picture, starting in February 2023, scary things began to happen. Which household items could poison children? On February 28th, she searched more than a dozen things, including, on March 8th, she looked up symptoms of swallowing a battery and what happens if a child swallows a button battery. Later, she searched, how many cases do children die from swallowing water beads? Water beads are dangerous, and most chilling of all, water beads near me, clearly planning to buy these dangerous items. In early April 2023, the first serious incident happened. On a Monday, when Emily was changing her baby's diaper after the weekend at her dad's, she noticed something strange. There was a small, clear, jelly-like ball, a water bead, in the child's poop. Over the next few days, things got worse. Not only were these beads found in Iris's poop, but also a metal screw and 3 small round button batteries. Shocked and terrified, Emily rushed her daughter to UPN Children's Hospital. During the 4 days Iris was in the hospital, she excreted a total of 20 water beads, a screw, and 3 batteries. Water beads are small polymer balls that can grow up to 1,500 times bigger when put in water. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission warns that swallowing these beads can be deadly for kids. Inside the body, they keep expanding, causing severe pain, vomiting, dehydration, intestinal blockages, and life-threatening damage. Sometimes, surgery is needed to remove them. Swallowed batteries are just as dangerous. Doctors at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia warn that these batteries can get stuck in the throat, causing severe chemical burns. They can also burn through the stomach, causing internal bleeding and life-threatening problems. Because of how serious this was, and the number of dangerous items swallowed, the hospital staff immediately called Lawrence County Children and Youth Services, CYS, reporting suspected child neglect or even intentional harm. On April 5th, 2023, with her heart full of fear, Emily filed an emergency request with the court. Immediately after Iris left the hospital, She desperately begged Judge David Aker to stop the father's visits until Child Protection Services could fully investigate. Every mother's instinct in her was screaming danger. The request clearly stated what she knew in her soul. The father's inability to properly supervise the child puts the child at risk and causes harm. But Judge Aker didn't restrict the father's access to Iris. Instead, on April 11th, he ordered Iris's parents to take co-parenting classes. The hearing was scheduled for May 2nd, but was later postponed after they claimed they reached an agreement. In reality, according to Emily's family, there was no real agreement. She was told that if she didn't continue allowing the visits, she would be held in contempt of court and might lose custody of Iris. CYS workers checked both Emily's and Bailey's homes but found nothing wrong. Their inspection, as one family member put it, consisted of filling out a form and checking a few boxes. No one questioned how 20 water beads, a screw, and 3 batteries, things a child couldn't accidentally swallow in one weekend, ended up in the child's body. Meanwhile, behind closed doors at Bailey's home, Alicia Owens kept searching online. After the April incident, her searches became even more specific and horrifying. On June 20th, 2023, just 5 days before the tragedy, she searched, "How does shaken baby syndrome happen?" This last search was a dark warning of what was about to happen. Despite the mother's desperate pleas and the obvious red flags, Iris continued to be sent to her father and his girlfriend on the regular schedule. The child protection system just checked a box on a form. The court made its decision, and 18-month-old Iris was basically sent straight to a person who was planning to kill her. Sunday, June 25th, 2023, Newcastle, Pennsylvania. The day started like any other. Iris, as usual on weekends, was with her father, Bailey Jacoby, and his girlfriend, Alicia Owens. In just a few hours, she was supposed to go back to her mother. During the day, Bailey decided to run to the store to buy a few things for his daughter before taking her back to Emily. He left Iris with Alicia, his 20-year-old girlfriend who was studying nursing. When Bailey was already at checkout with a cart full of groceries, his phone rang. It was Alicia, and she sounded panicked. Bailey immediately called 911 and rushed home, leaving his shopping cart in the store. He ran as fast as he could. When he got home, the ambulance arrived at almost the same time. What the paramedics saw was alarming. Little Iris, this beautiful 18-month-old girl, was lying on the floor with a blank stare and barely breathing. Her condition was critical. The paramedics quickly took the little girl to the nearest hospital, Jameson Hospital in Newcastle. But it soon became clear that the child needed more specialized care, and Iris was transferred to UPMC Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh, about an hour's drive away. At the hospital, doctors found that the little girl's organs were failing one after another. Her brain condition was especially alarming. It was severely swollen. Further tests showed that Iris had bleeding in her brain, bleeding in the retinas of both eyes, and most concerning to the doctors, a high level of acetone in her blood. Her little body was shutting down. Specialists from the UPMC Child Protection Center told investigators that any reasonable caregiver would have noticed major changes in Iris's behavior after such poisoning and injuries. According to them, the little girl couldn't have seemed normal. But Alicia and Bailey claimed that she seemed fine, only throwing up a few times in the previous 24 hours. For 4 hellish days, doctors fought to save Iris's life, doing everything they could. But on June 29, 2023, at 1:52 p.m., little Iris Rita Alfera's heart stopped beating. As soon as it became clear that Iris's death was suspicious, police began investigating. They questioned the girl's father, Bailey Jacoby, and his girlfriend, Alicia Owens, who had been taking care of her when it happened. Their stories raised more red flags. During questioning, Alicia said she was feeding Iris on the bed when her own arms and legs cramped up, and the little girl fell from the bed to the floor. She claimed she saw the child's chest collapse and started doing CPR, then called Bailey, and then called 911. Detectives who later visited the house discovered that the bed Iris supposedly fell from was just a 6-inch mattress on a carpeted floor. Falling from such a low height couldn't possibly have caused the serious injuries found in the little girl. Alicia insisted that neither she nor Bailey ever left Iris alone and were very careful about her safety. She also claimed that the bathroom cabinets were locked, so the child couldn't get to dangerous substances. During the investigation, detectives took Alicia's phone. What they found shocked even the most experienced investigators. Starting in February 2023, months before the tragedy, Alicia had regularly searched online for ways to harm a child. The police found dozens of searches about dangerous substances and their effects on children. After the investigation began, they also found deleted searches about how lie detector tests work, how to pass them, and how to cheat them, a clear sign of guilt. The autopsy done by the forensic pathologist confirmed that Iris died from acetone poisoning, which caused multiple organ failure. Acetone, a chemical found in household products including nail polish remover, can cause nausea, vomiting, and severe pain. Besides the poisoning, Iris had bleeding in her brain and bleeding in the retinas of both eyes. Injuries typically seen in shaken baby syndrome, or when a child is hit against something hard. These injuries were as severe as those you'd see in a car crash, where someone's head hits the windshield. The doctors who examined Iris were certain. After such injuries, any reasonable caregiver would immediately notice changes in the child's behavior. The claims by Alicia and Bailey that the girl seemed normal before collapsing couldn't be true. On January 10, 2024, 196 days later, Alicia Owens was finally arrested. She was charged with 9 serious criminal counts, 3 counts of first-degree murder, 4 counts of aggravated assault on children under different age categories, and 2 counts of endangering the welfare of a child by a parent or guardian. If convicted, she faces life in prison. She was denied bail, with her preliminary hearing originally set for January 24th. The trial, which was scheduled to begin on January 6, 2025, has since been postponed. According to court officials, there is no new trial date scheduled at this time, as the defense recently changed legal counsel. Throughout this process, witnesses reported that Owens has remained disturbingly calm, showing no signs of remorse for what she did to the innocent toddler who trusted her. Emily, Iris's mother, has dedicated her life to fighting for changes in child protection laws. Iris's story reveals major failures in the child protection system, ignoring warning signs, half-hearted inspections, and putting pressure on a mother who was just trying to keep her child safe. The main lesson is that warning signs can't be ignored. If an Iris Rita Alfera, through her tragic story, forces us to face a horrifying true 18-month-old child swallows 20 water beads, a screw, and 3 batteries. If the caregiver's search history is full of queries about poisons, something needs to be done right away. The system meant to protect the most vulnerable, children, can completely fail them.